Hi, my name is Danielle Simmons. I'm 21. I had a child when I was 15 and I'm due to start university in March to become a child nurse.
Hi, I'm Sam. I'm 26. I've got two kids, Connor who's 7 and Cameron who's 3. When I found out I was pregnant, I was shocked. I was scared because I thought, oh my God, it didn't happen to me. But then I was fine. I was more scared of telling my family than anything else.
When I found out I was pregnant, I felt loads of different feelings of being nervous, anxious, happy, excited, really scared though. Because I found out that 2 weeks before I had the option of to have an abortion or not, whether to have it or not.
I had to go to a pregnant schoolgirl unit in Anfield Plain called Prime Time. I left there straight away as soon as I found out at 6 months, and I stayed there for 8 months. I missed 8 months of school. Year 10, which was a really important year. And after 2 weeks after having him, I had to go straight back to school. I had him on the 23rd of December. With it being in the holidays, I didn't get any extra time off. So then 2 weeks, as soon as that finished, I'd gone straight back to school, which was really hard. Having 2 hours sleep a night and then having to go to school was really tough.
It wasn't planned, but me and my boyfriend at the time, we decided to go through all the options of abortion or to keep, and we decided to keep the Ben.
It's really hard. You do it all on your own. With getting pregnant when I was 14 and still being in school, I couldn't claim any money for him or any benefits until I was actually 17. So my mum and dad had to keep him. I had to buy everything for him. I then have been sharing a bed with him for nearly 6 years. He's been in my bed. We share one room because I still live with my parents. I've been trying to get my own place, but for 3 years I've had no luck at all.
My mum was quite disappointed the fact that I fell pregnant, and she just wasn't really happy, but then she wanted us to have an abortion, and then she took us to go shopping the day after, and then just warmed up to the idea that I was going to have a baby, and she was quite happy about it. And my dad didn't find out till I was too late to do anything about it because my mum and dad were separate.
My mum was very supportive when I told my mum that I was pregnant, and my dad, he was a bit unsure at first, but then when he come round to it, he was there, and they both said that they would be there to help us all the way through it.
Oh, my mum was really upset at first, the first time she found out, because with knowing I was 6 months pregnant, it was just a massive shock and that nothing could be done about it. She just broke down in tears, took me to the doctors, begged for an abortion. I couldn't have one, and she started to cry, but the next day she was absolutely over the moon and she loves him to pieces.
Leading up to birth, it was quite nerve-wracking, but at the same time very exciting, because I had a quite easy birth with my first child. It was, what can I say, very easy. The labour, that was the hardest part, but it was brilliant.
Leading up to the birth was very easy. I had no complications. I was quite minority come to other young parents, because some have complicated births. When both of mine were quick, fast and easy, no stress and nothing.
I found out I was pregnant at 6 months, so it was just a whirlwind kind of roller coaster. I didn't have time to sink in, and actually didn't sink in until a few months after having him, and then I realised just how hard it was going to be. I had no expectations of anything. I hadn't had a clue what about pregnancy was about or anything, with only being 14 at the time, and I sailed through it. It was really easy pregnancy, and I really enjoyed it, actually, really enjoyed it. Everything that could have went wrong did in my labour. With being 15, it was hard anyway, but it was not what I expected. There was complications. His cord was in a knot, so he wasn't getting any oxygen. So they tested to see if he was by putting blades up to get some blood samples, and they couldn't get any. So they did want to rush me in for an emergency C-section, but I started to push, so I had to have him there and then. But he wasn't coming out, so they had to use one tooth. That wouldn't work, so they had to use the forceps, which left a horrible mark on his head. But they also had to cut me, and like episiotomy, and then I still had a 3rd-degree tear, and then had to go into surgery for stitches, so it wasn't very nice at all.
I would have changed a few things, like being ready for them. If I was going to have kids, I would have rather had my house sorted beforehand. I would have rather had a good income by the time they came. I would have done a lot of things differently. I love the Bens to pieces, but sometimes I wish they weren't here, because I don't get the life that I've always wanted. I love them though. They are my world and that, so I can't regret them, but I do wish I had changes. Like, I wished I'd went to college instead of going now, like I'm doing. It's a lot harder to do.
Being a teenage mum is really hard. It's just expense after expense. You've got to think of everything you need for 2 kids. You need clothes, nappies, milk, food, and it's really hard when you're not getting no help off the dad. And on top of that, my social life, it takes a lot of planning because I've got 2 kids and I've always got to find a babysitter that's going to be there to help us and rely on.
Me and my baby's dad split when he was about 15 months old. He was never there. I never offered any support, didn't do a nappy change, he didn't do a feed, he still doesn't, he never ever has contributed anything to his bringing up.
The situation with the dad is he was never there for any of them, and now he goes down to 1 day a week, and mine and his relationship, which is really do not get on. We fight all the time.
Having a child has affected my life in a massive way. I've had to give up everything, my social life, my friends, my education, which was the main thing, the worst thing. I only left school with 4 GCSEs, but he's 5, well, coming up 6 now, so he's in school, so now I can finally plan my life and do something for myself, which is going to university in March.
Well, your body changes. I went from size 12 to being a size 22 when me first, and I lost weight, and then I fell pregnant 3 months after that. So I went back up after having her, and then I went back down to a size 18, and that's where I've stayed at the minute. You get stretch marks, loads of different changes, your hair changes, your skin changes really, because obviously your body's affected by the entire pregnancy. Sleepless nights, routine, you've got to be organised, you can't be disorganised and not know where things are, housework. Then you've got their chores, their housework to be done. Then you've got their schoolwork to be done, feeding them, bathing them, routines like that. Everything just rolls on top of each other.
Having a child didn't affect my life personally, but it affected my relationship with the baby's dad, because it put a lot of strain on, and ended up splitting up while I was pregnant with the second child.
When thinking about having sex, think about it wisely. Make sure it's your decision, not somebody else's. Don't be rushed into it, because you only do it once at the end of the day, like lose virginity, so it's something special. It's not the best thing that you want to lose it with just a random person. You want to be in love with that person. And having a baby, make sure it's your decision at the end of the day, because obviously it's going to be something that affects you for the rest of your life.
Looking back, if I had to do it all again, I definitely would have done it differently. I would have used contraception, protection, anything, condoms, the pill. It was the worst thing that could have happened to me at that time in my life. I definitely would have changed it. He was my son and I loved him to pieces, but I would have done it differently. For whatever reason that you're having sex, just make sure you're doing it for the right reasons and that you're doing it safely, because you can get pregnant, and it does happen, and it happened to me.
I thought I was in a stable relationship, and I wasn't. It was my choice, and that's one big bit of advice I would give to everybody. Just remember, it's always your choice, whether you're in a relationship or not in a relationship.